Hey gang, Ken and Bill with the Wilson Combat Gun Guys episode. We got a new one for you here, and one of the things that we're going to ask my buddy Bill about is the favorite gun and shooting activities that not only you've had in the past, but where you're at now. Again, most people know that you're the powerhouse behind the Wilson Combat business, but what I think some people don't appreciate is how extensive you've been involved in the shooting world since you were probably a teenager.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah. Okay, competition-wise, obviously we met more or less because of IPSC competition, and I know you shot IPSC, you shot USPSA.
Yep, and then I also shot Bianchi Cup and Second Chance and the Steel Challenge, and pretty much everything that was on the action practical shooting circuit, in the old days.
I remember the first Bianchi Cup match that I shot. You of course shot it too, and when we were standing in line to get the prizes, you were behind me. That only happened one time, but it was a great feeling that I beat Bill Wilson. Yeah. But most people don't realize this. You're the guy that created and made IDPA happen. Tell us how that came about.
Well, actually, you'd have to back up to USPSA. That's where it really started. I mean, I was on the board of directors for USPSA for a lot of years. Kept butting my head against the wall trying to get them to do something practical again, because it had all gone to comps and dot sights and all that. There was nothing practical about practical shooting anymore.
Yeah.
And so I kept pushing for, a division where they would shoot real guns. And John Sale and I kept working on it and eventually we sold them on the limited division. Well, of course, immediately it went over real well, just like I knew it would. Trouble is, about within a year, the powers that be, all the gamers had, we got to allow this, we got to allow that. It got bastardized into something that didn't even resemble what we were trying to accomplish, within a year. I mean, the true limited division was so short-lived. And so basically, just pretty much gave Andy Aller and USPSA a ultimatum. I mean, either you're going to go back to the way it's supposed to be and have a truly practical division, or I'll take my marbles and go home and I'll just make my own damn sport. So
yeah, which is I remember when you called me and said you were fed up because they basically told you to
go pound sand,
and you said fine. Called me and said, I want to start a new organization and I want to get back to the practical roots. Are you in?
Yeah.
And of course I was probably 1,200 miles away, and it was pretty easy on the phone to say sure. Yeah. Not really thinking it might actually happen, but boy, you lit the fuse and it took off.
Yeah. When we started it, we all thought that, if we, eventually have 2,000 members, this is going to be a success, and now I think there's, over 20,000 members in God, I don't know how many different countries now.
Yeah.
So.
And I always tell people, if you've got, say, 20,000 members that are card-carrying members, you probably got another 35,000 that shoot IDPA but don't belong to the organization.
Yeah, they play the same game at their local gravel pit.
Yeah, they what we call bandit clubs or outlaw clubs. They're not affiliated, but they still shoot IDPA.
Yeah.
You still shoot any competition at all now?
No, I haven't. I haven't shot an actual organized match since 2004.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're kind of like me. I really enjoyed it when I did it, but I did eventually. There was a point in my life like you. Every weekend, man, I was in the car going to a match somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to the point where I just burnt out and have no interest in shooting competition anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys do it here with your local group that comes out and shoot. I mean, we do, we keep score and all that stuff with our local shooting group that comes out on the weekend, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not an organized competition, but we do, keep score and razz each other when we make mistakes and things like that.
I call my little get-together of the Saturday study group. And what it really is structured practice. Mm-hmm. And the problem we both know is most people don't know how to practice. That's why they don't get better. If you force people to actually have some structure where you can identify what you're strong at and weak at and where you need improvement and stuff, is how you actually become a better shooter. Yeah. And I know you kind of do the same thing with your guys. I tell people you're the ringmaster for your little circus get together, and I'm kind of the same way with mine. And when I did it back in Ohio, we called it then the Sunday study group. quite often, a lot of the stuff I did in that, I was testing out stuff to use in my training business. Those guys were kind of the guinea pigs, but ultimately they benefited from it. But for both you and me, that getting together with your buddies and shooting drills and stuff is probably one of the things we still look forward to.
Yeah, and the main reason that I quit shooting competition is just I like to go to the range and shoot. I don't like to go to the range and stand around.
Oh, boy.
And there's always so much downtime when you go to a match. You know, you go there and you spend the whole day and you only shoot 100 rounds or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, when my buddies come out and all that, we'll shoot for 3 hours or something and shoot 300 rounds apiece.
Well,
yeah.
one of the activities I think we both probably started at in this whole business was plinking. And while I firmly believe plinking is not beneficial to becoming a better shooter, unfortunately, because you pay attention to hits and not to misses. But I got to tell you, every once in a while there's a rock or a dirt clod or something on that berm behind my target. It's like, and especially with a 22, I still enjoy plinking, you know. So you mess with that much anymore, or you have got past that juvenile endeavor?
Well, I would call what I do with guns that have nothing to do with my business, I kind of categorize that as plinking.
There you
like
are.
I think I told you a few weeks ago when we were talking, where I got into this phase of Winchester 94 22s.
Yeah.
And I'm just having a blast shooting those things, you know. And I'm consider that plinking, you know. I mean, I'm not just shooting beer cans with it, but, you know, shooting different things.
You
and
have
trying
to
see which.
How do you get beer cans? Yeah, you got a good supply of targets at your ranch. Okay, here's one that we know the answer for. And you often say, if you define Bill Wilson, what his number one in his gun culture interest, and it's hunting.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was a hunter long before I was a quote shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my main passion is hunting, and specifically hog hunting. You know, but that's something I do numerous times a week. You know, depending on travel and weather.
You and I did a video last year about accuracy and how important bullet placement was, both for self-defense and hunting and all this. We compared notes on that. And in that video, you mentioned the fact you'd been hunting in Africa like 28 times, something like that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about how many hogs you had killed to that point. And I think most of the viewers were like, holy cow, this guy is a serious hunter. So
I've killed 261 hogs since January 1.
That's cool. Yeah. How about, are you into or have any interest in precision shooting? Do you do any of that?
Just for fun. I don't have any interest in like PRC competition or anything like that. But as you know, we got a 1,200 yard range on the ranch.
Right.
And almost all my buddies have got some form of a long range rifle. Matter of fact, just last Wednesday and Saturday night of last week, the guys came out, with their 6.5 Creedmoors and their 308s and this and that. And, we shot quite a bit.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, everybody, trying to hit the 1,000 yard target and stuff like that, and razzing each other when, somebody with a less sophisticated, less expensive gun was hitting the target that the guy that had the most expensive rifle, with the not for scope and all that stuff couldn't hit it,
That's cool. All right, the last one I'm curious about. I know the answer to this, but let's talk about your interest in collecting.
I've been a gun collector ever since I could afford to not, trade off a gun to get another gun.
Yeah.
I mean, we all started off that way. I mean, you couldn't afford to have very many guns at once. And if you wanted
to
a new gun,
sell one.
you had to trade or sell one to get another one. But once I could, got to where I, could afford that, just add to the pile, so to speak. I've been a pretty serious collector of old Colt revolvers and Colt 1911s and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got a very impressive collection. And you're kind of an anomaly in the gun culture. There's an old expression, hunters don't shoot, shooters don't hunt, and collectors don't do either one. You're the anomaly. You do all three.
Yeah, do all three. Yeah.
And you don't do any of them very casually. You're pretty hardcore hunter, hardcore collector, and a hardcore shooter.
Yeah.
So that's pretty unusual, really is.
Well, I mean, you and I being gun guys, I mean, the shooting, guns, hunting, all that stuff, that's our life.
No.
Like I tell everybody, I mean, if it doesn't shoot bullets or have wheels, I don't have any interest in it, you know.
And you're a pretty serious car guy. Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
And it's probably an understatement to say that Bill Wilson kind of enjoys driving fast once in a while. Yeah.
Well, I know somebody sitting beside me that likes to drive fast too.
Well, listen, that's kind of some insight to the real Bill Wilson, what he likes, what he does, and has a great to do with where you're at today.
Yeah. Yeah, without the passion of shooting and everything, you know, might still be working on those damn watches.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, folks, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you got any questions or comments, don't be afraid to add them down below. And most importantly, stay safe. Watch your six. We'll see you down the road.